There is a silent but very self-evident social contract between men, women, and their creator. With no active intention by girls, science has proven that a healthy body prepares for childbearing, usually by the average age of 13. With no active intention by boys, a healthy body develops the fertilizer for the female egg during a similar time frame. Then hormones develop, like a magnet attracting them to each other, and the natural process begins, resulting in new babies being born, being nurtured from dependence to independence, and starting the process all over again. This natural process is self-evident in many ways, like fruit and vegetables having seed, and the natural ability to reproduce themselves when not tampered with by men. Animals on land and in the sea all have a similar silent, but very self-evident social contract to reproduce. As a result of this natural process, according to the March 2025 estimate from the United Nations Populations Division, the world population on Earth has grown to 8.2 billion people. This is part one of the very silent, but very self-evident social contracts all living beings have with the creator of all. Part two of this social contract is in the self-evident process of reciprocation. As of 2025, according to the CDC, the average life expectancy for U.S. citizens is around 80 years. In the early years, most parents nurture and provide resources for their children. In the middle years, both generations are expected to be self-sufficient, enjoying a balanced companionship between multiple generations. And in the later years, children provide the necessary, as needed resources to nurture their aging parents. This self-evident, natural process is carried out by the reciprocity of giving and taking. So, why are women breaching the natural social contract and choosing a child-free life? The answers to this question will greatly depend on where a woman's individual circumstances and personal belief system falls in the internal hierarchy of the body, soul, and spirit. Here are 7 reasons why women are choosing not to have children. Number 1. Childhood trauma. Perceived childhood trauma can have profound and lasting effects on women, influencing their choices and relationships well into adulthood. Some women on the trauma spectrum were soft kids, raised by soft parents, and the responsibility of another human is too traumatic for soft adults to psychologically handle. That's one end of the trauma spectrum. Other women on the opposite end may have experienced different forms of compounded trauma, such as a poverty lifestyle, on top of neglect, on top of being responsible for younger siblings when you are still a child yourself. This may result in a decision not to have children. This decision may be an empowering way for women to break cycles of harm, prioritizing healing for themselves and the protection of the public by choosing not to bring a life into an unhealthy environment. News reports are full of stories that reveal a very hard truth. It's not a bad idea when some women decide not to have children. However, unique individual women with very similar trauma experiences often have a different set of internal hierarchy capital in relation to the resources of the spirit and soul. In the center of the trauma spectrum is the healed woman. Over time, she has used her soul capital in the mind, willpower, emotions, and any spiritual or outside therapy help is needed to psychologically analyze the trauma, process it, let it go, and moved on to build a self-sufficient identity that can successfully handle daily life, balancing career and a full family life. For the healed woman, trauma is not the ultimate end-all be-all defining factor for choosing motherhood. Number 2. Community social engineering. According to the National Library of Medicine, ancient girls started procreation around 15 years old and had an average of 7 children, with childbearing years lasting anywhere from 14 to 21 years. But we have a different set of socially engineered identities today. There's the businesswoman identity that's too busy to bother with domestic nurturing like cooking or being home with the family. Happy hour sounds much better. Then we have the socially engineered forget the kids and travel the world identity that is in the social group of women who embrace the travel industry's message that life has no real quality if you haven't been to this checklist of destinations. With options like in vitro fertilization and egg freezing, modern women are encouraged to delay the natural, early life childbearing to pursue a higher education and at least a decade of time to explore yourself, other cultures, and the world that we live in. The different communities socially engineering messages have changed, so women are changing too. When the community was trained to follow the body's natural process in ancient times, with limited reproductive options and limited education, that's what women did. But modern women and men have access to more education and more choices, which leads us to number 3, the financial cost of parenting. According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the average cost of raising a child to the age of 17 in middle-income families was around $233,000 in a study published in 2017. This was before inflation, wage stagnation, and the increase in the cost of good daycares, pushing that number well over $300,000 today. Educated parents have access to additional information, like the published data on how the human brain is not fully developed until around 25 years of age. These parents continue supporting their children beyond the legal age of 18, with many paying the additional cost of college, averaging more than $45,000 per year for public out-of-state total cost over a 4-year period per the Education Data Initiative's report. That's around $180,000 invested in a college education by many parents, aiming to give their children access to additional structured education through the age of 25. The grand total of the average financial investment is around $480,000 after college is accounted for. Number 4. Some educated women are not having children because they realize there is no guaranteed return on the financial investment. That $480,000 the average parent pays for the 25 years of supporting a child is a real sacrifice for most adults. According to the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission's compound interest calculator, that $480,000 invested at a 10% annual return rate would be worth more than $1.8 million over a 25-year compounding period if parents had saved this money for themselves. In reality, some parents do the bare minimum, while others spend much more to increase the likelihood of their child's success. But free will and personal choice plays a major factor in their failure or success, and there is no guarantee that if they actually graduate, they will step up and take personal responsibility for good financial management and successfully launch from a codependent young adult, free-loading off their parents, to a self-sufficient man or woman. Life is risky, and this is one of the most expensive risks that some women are not willing to take. Number 5. Avoiding toxic children. Many women are choosing not to have children because they are using the community and social media to educate themselves on the effects toxic children have on their parents. While parents have more control over shaping their family values in the earlier years, as children enter the school system and get more involved in extracurricular activities, by middle and high school, outside influences like friends, teachers, and coaches are shaping their beliefs. By this time, many parents are looking sideways at their kids, asking themselves, "Who is this person? Do I know you?" Blended families are more and more common today, with incompatible worldviews as the main culprit in the parents' failed relationship with each other. Children from blended families have even more belief options to choose from. As they began the natural process of maturing from young kids to young adults, their less educated friends have much more influence than their parents, and they began to break away from the family, with many of them exhibiting toxic attitudes towards authority figures, often resorting to life-risking behaviors. While leaving the nest is a normal process of life, the transition is much harder with toxic children. They may consistently exhibit manipulative tendencies, an entitled attitude, and disruptive or aggressive behaviors towards their parents, using hurtful words or actions to create unhealthy dynamics in the family. When the desire to fight their parents is more important than learning life skills, some parents experience anxiety and depression, exhausted from consistently trying to help someone that treats them like an enemy, while others kick them out to protect their personal peace. Social media is full of disrespectful young adults bashing their parents while displaying a modern form of a victim identity. And the therapy community can often be seen supporting this toxic, one-sided view, asking parents to submit their own well-being to some overreaching ideology that insinuates that the child never lies. "I need therapy because my parents took me to Disney World every year, and now, after consistently buying the new iPhone after every update, living in the most luxurious apartment I can find, and eating at Michelin-star restaurants, I can't afford fun trips around the world, and I have a right to that life." Girl, bye. Number 6. No return on emotional investment. Most healthy parents are emotionally invested in their children, willing to risk their own emotional well-being to provide love, support, discipline, and encouragement to their offspring. While fostering a secure environment where everyone feels valued, good parents openly give of themselves emotionally, being present and emotionally attached to the child's present and future outcomes. Such investments should lay the foundation for strong family relationships and can equip non-toxic children who are open to learning with the tools they need to build a meaningful life. However, as children become young adults, they get to choose their identity and their own relationship styles. While some adult children choose to be grateful for the 25-plus years their parents invested in them, others choose to adopt the entitled attitude, believing that they have no reason to be thankful when parents only did what they were supposed to do and probably should have done more. With no real emotional attachment, they often find an entitled community of peers to confirm their point of view and fall into a victim mode of entitlement. With the individual gift of free will, unrequited love is always a possibility. It's one-sided when parents are invested in emotionally detached adult children. This can often be seen in toxic adult children that fail to launch, still living off their parents well into adulthood. In adult children who are not willing to grow from takers of emotional capital to givers. And in adult children creating warfare, with enemy lines drawn to ensure a dramatic fight anytime the parent voices personal desires for their idea of meaningful connections. A healthy parent's love for their child cannot be put into words. They usually have strong boundaries against outsiders draining their financial, emotional, and intellectual resources. But the boundaries with children are often blurred by love. It often exceeds normal boundaries and has the capacity to wreak havoc on a parent's emotional capital. Supported by social media and many in the therapy community, numerous examples show how some modern children have no love or respect for their parents, often creating victim identities for any little family issues that are within the normal process of life, resulting in many women believing that the negative and toxic return on emotional capital is not worth the decades of emotional sacrifice. Number 7. Some women want a child-free life because they're self-absorbed. On the self spectrum, with self-centered being the most balanced approach, self-absorption falls to one extreme and self-sacrifice to another. On this spectrum, self-centered women take the time to know their predetermined self, setting personal goals that include lifelong planning that meets their personal needs and purpose in life. They learn to first sit at their own table before sitting at another's. This form of intentional living gives women the time needed to ensure they have the spirit, soul, and bodily resources needed to begin the process of offering life to another human being. This is a balanced approach. But it gets interesting when listening to the reasoning behind the decisions that makes a person choose not to have children. For example, some reasons may include their own needs, some may include a form of overindulgence in wants, while others may include uncontrollable limitations like mental illness. Deciding to skip childbearing due to limitations can be an act of protection, and the best decision for the parent, the child, and the community. News reports of abuse, abandonment, and the overpopulated foster systems give an external picture of what that looks like when children come into situations with unmanaged mental illness. While labeling women as self-absorbed oversimplifies complex choices, deeper questions will often shine a light on core priorities. Hedonism can be an example of a deeper, core priority for some women. With pleasure as the main goal in life, off time can be spent independent of the needs of a child. Another woman on the opposite end of self-absorption, intent on self-sacrificing, may have enough kids to make up the numbers in a defensive football team, ensuring she has no time for her own continuing education. On this self-spectrum, some balanced, self-centered women believe that they have been given a specific set of gifts to complete specific work that would not align with quality parenting. Oprah Winfrey has been very public about choosing not to have children. However, after building a great career and becoming a major employer, Oprah used her resources to plan and fund the Leadership Academy for girls, giving disadvantaged children an opportunity to climb out of extreme poverty with quality education in a stable environment. While not having biological children, she used her resources to become the godmother to hundreds and, through other philanthropic giving, helped thousands. Nuns like Mother Teresa are another example, taking a vow of chastity, choosing to remain unmarried and celibate, dedicating their lives to the work in their religious communities, which makes having children incompatible with their spiritual commitment. In conclusion, the decision not to have children is deeply personal and varies widely among individuals. Where a woman's values fall on the internal hierarchy often dictate decisions about having or not having biological children. One body mate may want to protect her looks, preventing stretch marks and a very thick waistline, unable to see the beauty in the natural process of giving life. A soul mate may use her mind and willpower to research and plan the best socially engineered route to motherhood, disciplining herself to provide the best possible outcome for herself and her children, according to modern social standards of acceptance. And a matured spirit mate may seek to understand the natural process that has existed since the beginning of time, analyzing the idea of personal responsibility to the silent social contract process that was set in motion by the creator of all. While analyzing human behavior is a natural process of the adult life, it's important to review this topic with empathy, recognizing that every woman's journey is unique and respecting her right to use her own mind, willpower, and emotions to make her own choices to become a mom or to live a child-free life. Learning to respect the boundaries of others is one of the best ways to deepen our understanding of our own boundaries. And one step at a time, a more balanced me becomes a stronger community of we. Subscribe, like, and click the notification icon to explore the commonalities of our humanity with us. One topic at a time, from the inside out. Welcome to Circles of You.